That was all obfuscation, really. It's all very well to go about the global crisis. It does exist. Supply and demand, really radical concepts like that. But it was such an industry view that we never heard why it is that the productivity of energy production in this country is not rising fast enough to offset rising prices and depress them. That's the fundamental issue here. That's the structural issue behind high prices. It's all very well to be consumed by inflation, but what we really need is no more delays on small modular reactors, which are going to be cheaper and faster to build than any other previous source of nuclear power. And we need to stop this obsession with renewables. This year, Michelle, or last year, they accounted at one moment for 2% of electricity supply in this country.
And briefly, what about fracking? Because people are emailing me already saying, let's just start fracking.
Yeah, well,
if you look
at, of course, it's only renewables that go down in price, according to our environmentalist friends. If you look at the US fracking industry, high-tech industry, lots of IT down the bottom of those drill pipes. And therefore, they have raised productivity, lowered prices, and given the US economy an enormous fillip. We refused to develop that energy source.
Daniel?
Yeah, there's a tendency, isn't there, to try and starve us of the gas that we could be producing from various sources, North Sea and elsewhere, in order to force us into renewables. There's a certain mindset about that, and I think we're running up now, seeing the cost of that, when we run up against what is a global supply problem, and the Russians playing games as well with their provision of gas to the Western markets. So I think James has a very good point, and I think the government, but Angela, I think, is correct. On this narrow question of gas, the question is, do you take the hit all in one go with very steep prices, or do you find some mechanism where you will get a rise in prices, but you smooth it out in a way that is a bit more acceptable for the economy?
Does buffering, more like buffeting, poor families really amount to a policy for higher productivity in energy? All it is you're moving the Treasury.
It depends what you mean by productivity.
But
you would not open a new gas field in time for April. So we've got to think about what you can do between now and April.
Storage, though, which the government closed down.
But wait a minute, only a little time ago,
stored in the earth.
People on this panel were saying, oh, well, this such and such a thing hasn't been done for years. When we make the argument, which we don't hear enough from the government, that in their belated conversion to new kinds of nuclear power, it's fair enough to say that they've been negligent on the wheel and left us in the lurch. Of course, nothing can be done by April, Daniel. You're quite right. But why are we in this situation in the first place? Does it have nothing to do with the Conservative Party?
Well, I think I'm not sure quite what you're blaming for here. I am joining you in criticising the government for not looking
that advised that we should have more storage capability.
Storage is handy, but doesn't actually address the issue.
It does.
Stuff is stored actually in the earth, and all of these people who, like the Americans, who spend a huge amount of time taking oil out of the ground and then putting it back in caves so that they can store it. I mean, this is mad. So storage is not really a solution. It's just somewhere where you pipe the thing through. I'm agreeing with James that we should be doing more on nuclear, we should be doing faster on nuclear, and we should be bringing more North Sea oil on stream and investing in it. Fracking where it's appropriate geographically. There are parts of the country, we're a small country compared to the United States. There's great empty places in the United States.
The geology is different.
And the geology is different. But if it works in the UK, I'd be all for fracking as well. Now, we need to get on with that and do that. But in the meantime, I think it's right that we do something to smooth off this cliff edge.
Jo, anything else?
Well, only because it just seems, a few weeks ago, the government ruled out scrapping VAT on energy bills because Boris Johnson said it would disproportionately benefit richer people and he wanted to focus on poorer families. Now we're doing something that is going to do exactly the same by having this £200 for everybody, that then everybody will have to pay for. And the winter homes allowance, which is £140 a year, which is nothing, I think people are going to really struggle.
Well, let me know your thoughts. Are you one of those people that is having to choose between heating and eating? I hate that kind of crass phrase, but it's used often. If you are, let me know. Let me know your thoughts. Lots of you are emailing in, by the way, saying, why don't we just scrap the green levies or at least press pause on them
Here,
whilst
here.
we're going through this. I have to say, I agree with you. That would be quite common sense, wouldn't it?